Okay, have you ever thought of recycling old things? Like this one is one of the first hats that I ever made. So there's a big hole in it because I didn't know how to make it small. And it's stretching out and I wear it all the time. And I didn't have a measuring tape at that time, so it's too big. Instead of throwing it out and just using the one that I'm wearing right now that looks just as nice, I want to recycle it. So I already know where I start my hat. And even the top brand names, if they have knit or crochet, whatever, you're going to find where they started it. So I know for me, I always start, where they end it. So this with the tail end, you'll see the tail end sticking out. If it's like mine, lacy, there's nowhere to hide it. So I always end at the end. So I'm going to look around, and I'm sorry I have to hold this camera. It's a handheld small little camera, so I can't put it on on a tripod. So I look and I see, okay, I know I ended it toward the hood. So I'm just going to look. And I already did, and it was even hard for me to find until I see it sticking out. Okay, after I had just put down my high-tech camera with the great focusing, I was able to untie it. Just pull. Okay, unravel, 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 unravel. And now I got it. Now this is a good idea for if you accidentally pull your own clothing. Just no way you can save it. So how I start to make a ball of yarn is I wrap it around my finger, then two fingers until, see, I start unravel, unravel, two fingers, and then I just ball it up like a ball of um, aluminum foil into a tight little thing like this and start wrapping around. Knitting is just like this. Everybody should have at least caught their arm wearing a sweater or something before by accident on like a chain fence as a kid and it started to unravel. Well, don't throw them out. Okay, so right here I'm having trouble with my own stuff to pull out. So I try to separate it from the actual product itself, and it's knotted, and sometimes you have to unknot it or cut right there. I just started, I don't have that much yarn yet, so you just take your time when it snags. I think you saw how I just took that apart. Now I can keep going. So I'm looking at my own creation because I forgot how I did it as I do it, so I can do it again. It's not hard for me to let go because it's starting to get fuzzy. It's dirty, but it's going to be just for me. I'm not doing this for anybody else. So it's snagging again. So try to separate it. You'll learn. Try not to cut because you'll be cutting a lot. Try to unsnag it. It's old. It's fused together. Been in the sun. So pull it. And keep going. Okay. So snagging. I'm pulling the yarn away from the main yarn because it's fused on there. Because it's coming together sort of like dreadlocks in a way. I guess is the best way to describe it. So it's knotting itself because I'm going too fast. But this is better than throwing it away. I wouldn't want to throw it away since I can easily do it again. So you saw how that happened. So I go slow, and it might not snag now that I'm going slow. Okay, now it's starting to knot up because it's curly. So you look at it and it's all curly. So it's snagging onto itself. So before it snags, I pull it right then and there, and then I can keep going. So it's so curly, it's snagging. So this is what I have so far. I have all of this. So I'm going to make the ball more so it won't start curling up on itself like so. You see how the ball is forming? This is good for if you want to do scarves, just made out of scraps. Get a whole bunch of sweaters that people throwing away during the summertime or something. See how it's snagging onto itself in a way. And this is not that much cheap of yarn. It's acrylic, nicely spun, 4-ply. But to me, it seems some of it is like a 3-ply, even though it says 4, it's not that thick. And it's curly. So see how curly it is? Really curly. So you don't want to get too much before you do this. So I'm recreating the same one. So many people want to buy this one, and I did it such a long time ago, I forgot how I did it. And now I can see by doing it apart, and I have a fresh one on right now. So you see how I'm going like around and around instead of just doing this and this. It's easier to go there. And look, I'm already there. And then, so sorry that it's fuzzy. Pull apart and go. But if you crochet, this is exactly the same. Okay, now I'm not getting any snags. Until now, don't pull. If you snag, don't pull. Pull apart. Okay. And now I'm getting to the easier part to see where it is. Okay, keep going, and I'm pulling lightly. See, pulling light. If I pull too hard, like this, it starts to snag. Even still, it might snag because it's so curly. When you get frustrated, you can just start making the ball. So pull it. Okay, now that I'm at this circle, I have many different ways I do it, and as it become difficult or boring, I'm changing it up and showing you the different techniques. So now that it's becoming looser and easier, I sometimes, just for camera layout, it's harder for me to do this fast, but I'm holding the yarn, and I'm going to use the yarn as a source for the ball now that I have gotten it looser. And you get a rhythm into it. Now it's starting to do it again. Okay, now it's easy. So this is how I do it. Using all those techniques together now that I showed you, pulling apart with my hands. And you get a feel for it, just like when you crochet or knitting. It's starting to get aggravating, even though it's just a small hat. Sweater I never did, but same concept. I wore this a lot, so you see how fuzzy it is and everything. So this is my normal way of doing it. I do different ways. This is my normal speed. Especially if I don't like the project. I used to do that as a kid. If I didn't like the project, I reused the yarn. But try your hardest not to cut the yarn. Try everything to unknot it. So, I'm used to doing this. Your hands will get a feel for how to unknot it. Okay, this is where I am now. Okay, it's getting smaller, and I just want to go my normal speed, and I'll show you my normal speed. So I was doing it in very slow motion. So you see how I'm doing different techniques to unsnag it. And it didn't snag until I started filming right now. Well, usually on the Venice Beach boardwalk crocheting all the time, and people can just stand there and watch. So I'll let you just watch. I guess it's fascinating to watch somebody working with yarn. So I'll just be quiet and let you see to the end. Free ball of yarn. Instead of throwing it away or give it to somebody.